Hello and welcome back to Movie Health Community, the internet's #1 source of health warnings at the movies. As always, please keep in mind that nothing produced by Movie Health Community is medical advice, nor has any of it been reviewed by any medical professionals. Today we're talking about The Zone of Interest, the German film that is currently up for Best Picture at the Oscars. That is not what it actually looks like. That is a reflection of a completely black background. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, a very rare one. But before we talk about whether this movie's any good, let's talk about if this movie's safe for photosensitive audiences. The answer is yes. Zone of Interest is completely safe for photosensitive audiences. The only thing even close to a warning that I have for photosensitive audiences is that during the opening production company logos, there is a very sudden switch from black backgrounds to white backgrounds that may be a little bright. That's the only flashing light warning I have for Zone of Interest. For flashing lights, we are giving Zone of Interest a 0 out of 10. All of the camera motion in Zone of Interest is completely smooth. No concerns on that front. There is a scene at the end of this movie where somebody dry heaves. That's the most direct mental health warning that I have for you. But this movie does take place during the Holocaust. And so we know that there are pretty terrible things happening in the background of this movie, which brings me to whether this movie is any good or not. I'm going to say yes. Zone of Interest was a very well done movie. This movie takes place in a residence that is right next door to a concentration camp. And this is a movie that really trusts its audience to be smart enough to know what's going on because it never spoon feeds it to you. And what is heavily implied to be going on is, in fact, horrifying. We hear some distant screaming sometimes, we hear some distant shots, and we just get very vague suggestions of what's going on the other side of that wall. There are a couple of moments where the implications of what's going on the other side of that wall invade the peaceful space that we're watching on this side of the wall. I'm not saying that as any kind of negative. That's a really creative choice for a movie like this. There is one big accessibility complaint that I have about this movie. It has to do with the subtitles. Since this is in German and I don't speak German, I had to depend on the subtitles. And there were multiple points where these subtitles were just white text against a white background, and so they were impossible to read. Whoever put the subtitles together did not put backgrounds or outlines on these letters, which is something that there's no excuse. You can do that now. This is a good example of what a subtitle should look like. This movie does not flow very well, but it is beautifully shot and it tackles the historical aspects of what was going on at this time in a very tasteful manner. I thought it was a really good decision to let the imagination of the audience drive most of what makes this movie so horrifying. I'm going to give Zone of Interest a B+. Thank you so much to our readers on Tumblr and Facebook, and as always, an extra special thanks to our patrons over on our Patreon page whose names are scrolling across the screen like credits right now. Be sure to leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post new videos, and as always, stay safe at the movies.